What?
No, 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 don't do it!
We're talking Obsession, the latest horror movie to drop, and a lot to talk about in this one. Highly rated so far, but haven't given you our opinion yet, and we really want to jump into this. This is Minor League Films. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Without further ado, let's jump into it.
Just give me a second to freshen up. I'm sorry. Baby, just need a second.
So, got my guy Scotty back here after a little vacay, and Obsession dropped this weekend. And man, I was gonna say I anticipated this for a while. Couldn't wait for this to come out, and I thought we had a loaded horror movie month. And so far, I think we're 2 for 2. So, talking about Obsession, basically, the plot is after breaking a mysterious one willow stick to win his crush's heart, a hopeless romantic finds himself exactly where he asked to be, but soon discovers his desires come to a dark, sinister place. First of all, I want to say, like, we talked about this a little bit with They Will Kill You, but as far as horror movies that come out this month, it's a big month. These have felt really inspired, just from the start there. These aren't, and the thing I will complain about, these aren't lazy. They're mixing in genres. They're working it really well, and I think the originality of this is what pays it too. Because I don't know. I mean, Scotty, you could weigh in here. I've seen a lot of movies where one they do wishes or it's kind of a relationship type movie, but I don't think I've seen one like this. This is a very stand out from anything I've really seen before as far as direction, creativity. I don't think this has too high of a budget on, but the one thing I want to say early, like, you know how horror movies go. Jump scares, don't turn no lights on, any of that. And the movie I would talk to that I hated was Undertone. And the main thing that this movie does that movie did not do is atmosphere, atmosphere, atmosphere. This movie sets atmosphere as good as a movie I've seen this year.
Yeah, I just think this is a really creative take on the crazy spouse and the crazy wish thing put together. The closest thing I have to making a crazy wish and not knowing how to fix it is the old Wishmaster movies. One of my favorite series. But this is damn near completely original. That's just the closest I can find. And I think every step of the way, this movie is creative. Like you said, excuse me, there's no jump scares. There's not a lot of horror tropes in here. It's just the people themselves that make you have this atmosphere of fear. Because every step of the way, when the main character would move, just him moving in his own place, I was like, man, why are you so loud? why you moving like that? So it's a very creative movie.
Yeah, I think I think it does well with its tension, but the atmosphere, it sets up two things. It's both creepy and uncomfortable, and that is how the movie kind of rises from the beginning. So, just to kind of set you up, so we have two people. Nikki, who's the main guy's crush in the movie, and the main character's name is Bear. I mean, those two. Nikki is played by Indy Navarrete. I really haven't seen her before. You said you did.
Yeah, she played like the love interest of one of the brothers in Superman and Lois for like, I think she was in all the seasons except for the very last one. I didn't get to the last one, but I didn't see her name in the credits. But yeah, she played like the girl next door type.
Okay, so we have her, and then we have Bear, who's played by Michael Johnston. I think they both do a incredible job here. But basically, I like what this movie does because Bear, who's our main guy, he has his crush on this girl Nikki. Like they hang out all the time, they flirt a little bit, like, and it's one of those where I think this kind of reflects. I think why this character does so well is because it kind of reflects real life a little bit and confidence and just. He has this girl that he wants to talk to. He's unsure. He's unsure of himself. He's unsure if she likes him. He really doesn't know, to the point where he just starts trying stuff and talking to his friend. And like, he has his moments. And we talked about this when this trailer came out. It's like, it feels like they have some chemistry here. Why doesn't he just ask her out? But it's one of those where he's self-conscious and uncomfortable that he doesn't quite want to do it, even when he has the moments to do so. And, and I think it kind of speaks to kind of the current dating status. Like, we have these apps. We have social media. People don't exactly just talk to people like they used to, or are as comfortable with approaching people because people are afraid of rejection. They are afraid of, that, especially with a friend you hang out with all the time. You get rejected there, and that's one of 4 people you hang out with. That sets a bad precedence for you. So that's kind of how it starts with the character of Bear, which he's talking to his friends and all this. And what happens is he's hanging out with this girl, Nikki. They have chemistry, you can see it. And basically he just can't get through with it. Now, what happens is he picks her up something. He goes to the store, she loses an item, and he says, okay, I'll get a replacement, like a little nice gift, a little nice gesture. And he finds this thing called a One Wish Willow. And that was just a little stick on the there's like a box and there's a little stick on the wall. It's like $7. And he's like, okay, like I'll pick up one of those and I'll give it to her. And so they go out and they do have that moment where they're talking and she's like, well, do you like me? Because you've been acting weird. Like, you're doing stuff off. And he's like, oh, no, I think we're good friends because you just can't go through it. So eventually he uses the One Wish Willow. And honestly, I don't blame him for this because in what situation or scenario would this happen where this thing would actually work? But breaks a stick, obviously makes a wish. And from there, the obsession ensues. And I like it, too, because it's not exactly like a straight dive into crazy. It's like little crazy moments. And something I think they do set up well is like this character kind of snaps in and out of like the obsession. Like at some point it's like, okay, it's very normal. At some points it's like, well, that's a little weird. And I like that they lead in instead of just going straight insane, even though this movie really isn't that long. It still feels like there's some build up here to the point where you're like, this is going to go wrong.
Yeah, and I think the build up was great because, like you said, just a little bit of crazy on the first night when she was watching them sleep. But even that night with the little bit of crazy where he was like, yeah, why don't you just come over here? And when she started yelling, I said, oh, no, this is just one night. What's happening here? And every little thing she did leading up to the super crazy stuff was still really creepy.
Does Nikki like me?
I'm your freaky Nikki.
Really, like I wouldn't. Now I would have handled this situation a little different. And once I figured out,
you gotta. It's something you gotta shoot her or shoot yourself.
Once I figured out that this is what's working, you could just say some guidelines like, "Hey, if you really want to stay with me, then you'll stop doing this stuff or whatnot." And I kind of liked it that he actually starts to think about that and talk to her like that. Hey, maybe don't do this crazy thing. Maybe stop that. And I do like there's a little bit of mystery in the movie too.
Oh yeah, that's something I was going to jump into next, but I do like that. But also too, I think this movie does a great job. One thing we have a lot is over explaining and like what's really happening. This movie does not over explain. Honestly, it under explains too. Like there's some things where one, how does One Wish Willow stick works? This is just a cheap stick at a store. You don't get no explanation of why it actually works. There's this company on the back that he calls. You see that in the kind of a commercial or a cutscene that they put out where he's like, I don't want this wish to go anymore. And they're like, that's not how it works. Well, how does it work? We're not really going to tell you how it works, but you're stuck. So, and also too, the character of Nikki, I won't spoil it, but I think they do some very creative stuff with like the person that you were with before the wish and the person you're with after. And it's hard to get into it without spoiler, but I will say like what happens to that character and what that character has to deal with while in his obsession is downright horrifying. Yeah. Like there's some moments where it's like, oh my God, like what is happening to this character? And like I can't go into it too much, but it's horrifying. It is one of the creepiest things in this movie.
Yeah, it's kind of like when it at first started happening is when the mystery was going on, and that's oh wow, we got two nice little story elements in here, and dare I say that this is one of those movies, that doesn't give a lot of stuff away. That I'm like, you know what, I could do a sequel with this. I could do a sequel with this, and I would love to follow somebody else going through something like this, or I'd love to follow one of the characters from this movie into a sequel. Is how creative it was. The mystery got me. Her like descent in the chaos and the stuff she would do that I haven't seen in any other movie before, like with the door. And if you've seen the trailer, how she was how she was acting at a party that one of their friends.
Yeah. Oh my God,
that scene was hilarious.
Yeah, that is one of the best scenes. Yeah, you see it in the trailer. You get the uncomfortable laugh she has, but they have a great moment. And also too, I don't know how much of this is like CG or practical effects or how much they emphasize, but the character of Nikki, her facial expression, like she puts on this facial expression that had the whole crowd rolling at this party, just like this exaggerated frown that she has that it looks because it's almost like, is that real? Like, how are they actually able to do that? Because it looks realistic, but I'm like, they had to add like some more to her face or something to pull that off. But yeah, it's almost like the audience and the characters themselves in the movie, like, the hell is going on? So it's a lot here, but like you said, at times where and like once he makes this wish, they start hanging out like 24/7. Starts very normal, and it gets later, and that leads to some both funny, creepy, and just crazy moments while they're in the house together because she basically starts living with him, and like you said, it once that happened, every moment was tense because it's like this girl's not gonna leave me alone, and it kind of, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of It Follows, because in It Follows, you know that
Mhm.
this thing is kind of it's chasing you. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't eat. Like it's always around, and certain situations like that.
Mhm.
That's how I felt basically going through the 2/3 of this movie. Just like, where's this girl? Like he goes to work, he goes to hang out with friends, he's talking to somebody, he's got a moment alone in the car, and I'm just like, when is this girl gonna show up? Because I
Yep.
just you feel it, it's almost like you feel like somebody's watching you 24/7, and you're being with this character, so you feel like he's being watched 24/7, and it's just like I said, the biggest word is just uncomfortable and creepy.
Yeah, every scene I definitely had that feeling where every time he moved a different way, and if he wasn't at work I think he's good. If he wasn't at work, I was like, oh man, she's gonna just show up and or she's gonna be in the trunk the whole time you were at work, just sitting there. I was like, this is crazy. I also liked the supporting cast for the most part, except for his best friend. They wrote him in a good way for me to hate him. I couldn't stand the best friend at all.
Oh,
Sarah
yeah.
was cool. The other girlfriend that he has, I
Mhm.
thought she was cool. A lot of people can relate to her. But that dude, Ian, his best friend, I was like, man, get him out of here.
Yeah,
Get him
he's
out of here, man.
you can just tell he's kind of a bit shady, and I don't think he's a bad friend necessarily. Obviously, he obviously puts himself first at all times. So he's just
At
one of
all
those guys that
times.
like, oh, I'm gonna get mine, and then everybody else get theirs. But also too, he is one of those people early, and I like how they set up. You don't quite know. Well, by the end, you don't quite know if his actions were generate or generous or not, because
Mhm.
he has his own subplot going on, and when you find out as that, you're like, well, before when you seemed like you were worried about me, like, is that necessarily? So I like that they don't necessarily go into that, but it's if you think about it later, you'd be like, I don't know if that character was genuine or wasn't, because the situation calls for he should be saying this stuff and he should be
Yeah.
concerned about this situation, but he also has his own like wants and kind of what he's working on the side. So Ian is great, and I think what Sarah is the other one, and I think they do set up a good like in other movies, those characters would just be one note. They're there to
Mhm.
get from something to another. I like how one and what is this movie? Almost it's just under 2 hours,
Yep.
hour 48 minutes. In that amount of time, which really makes the movie about an hour and a half. In that amount of time, they flesh out those characters and have their own storylines going at the
Mhm.
same time while you're dealing with this craziness. And I think it's an effective use of time, and it tells you you don't need a 2.5 hour movie to get stuff done. In an hour and about 40 minutes here, they get a lot done, progress through the story, get the background of what's happening, flesh out these characters, let you know where they're going, and also have another time in there to make a horror movie at the same time and do a lot of creepy scenes. Like, I don't know if I've seen anything from Curry Baker as a director. I gotta look up to see what he's done, but like,
Mhm.
one, the writing on the page is great as for the work with, but his direction and getting the most out of these characters and getting the most out of these scenes is and one I always think about. We just talked about Hokum a little bit ago. Hogan was probably one of my favorite movies to come out in the last 2 years. This is right there. Like, they're different, But as far as a level of a horror movie, I might dare say this might be a little bit more. I don't want to say it's better,
Mm.
but more of a fan pleasing film.
Ooh, I don't know, man.
It's I
I
think it's a
like
better crowd pleaser.
I like them both the same. I can't even really choose between Hokum and Obsession. I can't
Yeah.
choose. I'd like to choose. I would have chose Hokum, but I really did like this movie too. They're neck and neck for me.
Yeah, I would say, and you can agree or disagree with here. I feel like this movie is a lot more gateway horror to where Holcomb is more traditional horror. It does add those other elements, but you
Mm.
pretty much get put in a horror movie. This movie is like gateway horror, isn't like they know how to break tension. And that's one thing we talk about horror and comedy. They know how to break tension. They know how to make the audience laugh. They know the moments the
Mm.
audience has to be uncomfortable. They know how to set up suspense. Like they're doing a lot of different things where even if you weren't into horror, I feel like you would go see this and have a great time. Holcomb, you more be like, oh crap, now I'm in the horror movie now, and now
Mhm.
we got to figure out our way out. And that's why I say I don't think this movie is necessarily better, but I think this is adapted more for a bigger audience.
No, that's true. I agree. I think anybody can go see this movie and just jump right
Yeah.
into it because you might not even be scared. You might just like the story going on. And speaking of like side character moments and stuff, did you see even some of the stand-ins in the party shot? Even some of them weren't just one lines; they were all looking around like what's going on. Like the black dude that was on the couch. As soon as
Yeah.
their little thing is over, he's like, "Yeah, where's the snacks at? What's going on here?" I was like, "Yeah."
Trying to focus on anything but the tense situation that is happening. Yeah, that party you see, I would say as far as like a social scene, that's about as good as I've seen since Talk to Me. Of
Yeah.
like when they have their party and the things that happen, and they go different ways, but like both of those scenes are as good of scenes I've seen as far as a party setup in horror movies that I can really remember. Um, a couple other things here. One, some of the tropes we don't get. The old person that knows some shit. Like we get that every, but we don't get that here. And I love that
Yeah.
because they hit that at a time where a guy's like, oh yeah, the wish stick. Yeah, I've used that before. Well, how did it work out? Well, it was fine. And that's the true thing.
Yeah.
Not all these wishes necessarily go to this level. I don't know if he called it a bad stick or whatever. They don't really explain that, but they all sometimes just work out for people. Like it's fine. Like, and then sometimes they don't. But I like what you said before is like you can see a sequel to this.
Yeah.
I feel like with these, you can almost adapt this to anything. Especially, I would love to see it in an atmosphere where somebody wants to be famous and
Yeah.
how that could go wrong, or somebody wants a particular job and how that could go wrong, or somebody. I mean they've kind of done that part, but like in was it the Monkey Paw where you wish
Mhm.
for somebody to come back and that like
Yep.
you can adapt this in any kind of way, even if for simple stuff or the love of animals, and that could go wrong. And like, oh, I would love to swim with, be able to swim with sharks safely, and that go like, there's just
Yeah.
so many things you can do here that, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing in a different direction a couple of these.
Yeah. I can see. I don't know how far I would take it. Maybe I would take it to 2 or 3 because
Yeah,
eventually you're gonna have to, figure out where these things come from. The hero's gonna have to go, try to destroy all of them. You got to stop it at some point. But
yeah,
I would like to see maybe 2 different scenarios while we're working up to that. Sure.
yeah. I would love to see one where somebody asked for fame, and then
Mm.
seeing how that would go. I think that would work because it worked. It worked really well in a Smile too, where you had a
Mhm.
famous person who can't just be acting crazy because you got people all around them, and that adds to people around them, and then it makes the situation worse. I think that could work well here.
Mhm.
Overall, wrapping it up, and like I said, everybody's liking this. Is 94% as far as critics and audience score, so they're right together. Like I
Mhm.
said, I think Indy Navarrete, I think she made herself a lot of money with this role. She's the
Yeah.
standout, but she made herself a ton of money. She's going to get a lot of roles after this. But also Michael Johnston, he is Nikki's the main here, even though she's not, but she is because she is kind of the star and the movie kind of moves with her. But
Mhm.
I think this character of Bear, I like a lot, especially too with the
Yep.
fact that like once he gets into the situation, he is very much not trying to take advantage of this person because he didn't think it would work, but like there's like a moment here or there, but very much trying to figure out how can we all get out of this situation safely. And I like that. And like I said, this movie goes to crazy points. There's a scene with a door that is just absolutely
Yeah.
insane. There's a sleeping scene that is both funny, creepy, and like you said, just the way this character of Nikki moves at times. I don't know how they did that and made it look both real. I don't know the budget on this, but
It was
they make it look real
it was about a
and
million.
like is how much?
It was about a million. It said between 750,000 and a million. They made
Okay.
7 so far.
Yeah, this is gonna make a ton. So yeah, very not high budget, but I don't know how it both looks. The way she contorts and moves around looks both real and unreal at the same time. I don't know how to explain it, but and they do it in the dark, so that helps a little bit. But yeah, it's a this movie's a wild ride, and I think it ends in a crazy and dark place as well, and it kind of pays off everything they set up here. So, just kind of wrapping this up. I mean, it's a home run movie for me. I had to give a rating. I don't think there's anything I really there's no moments I walked away from like, oh, I didn't like that or oh, I had a problem with that. Like I really don't have no complaints. And I walked out of Holcomb the same way, and that's why I kind of keep these two together. And I think too, this movie has maybe higher highs for me than Holcomb, and some of the moments just gave me more of an emotional reaction. So honestly, this might be, and I have to look back at what we see, my favorite movie this year.
Yeah, and then I give it a home run too. I mean, I wanted more when I was sitting there. I wanted more from the movie. It gave us everything. I said, yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit more. I need a post credit scene now or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the actors acted their asses off. I liked Bear a lot too. I'd like to see him in more stuff. Um, yeah, Holcomb and Obsession. I mean, they've probably been the best 2 horror movies we've seen in the last 5 years, 5 or 6 years.
yeah. I mean, I gotta think back to, I think they're better than Barbarian. I really like
Yeah,
Barbarian. I think they're better than that. I would say Smile too. I like those both a lot. It's probably on that same level.
yeah.
I have to think to what else I've seen, but yeah, in the last handful of years, I'd say it's definitely up there. Like I said, I would love to see one more stuff from this director and them expand on this and go in different directions. And like you
Yeah.
said, yeah, it left you wanting more. And just one last note, I just love too how they lead the audience in this movie. This is somebody who knows how to get it. Like he goes to, I won't really spoil it, but he goes to meet up with a certain character in this, and
Mm.
just the whole time we're all like, no, no, don't do that, don't be here, something's gonna go wrong, and they don't make it fast. They make you wait and just sit down until something goes wrong,
Yep.
and it's a crazy. Maybe the maybe the one moment in here that's a little more traditional horror, but the way they set it up is just it's so crazy. So yeah,
Um,
I'm at a oh go ahead.
Real quick, the only other movie that he's directed so far looks like it's called Milk and Cereal. It's a horror movie, came out in 2024. Seemed like it's pretty low budget. Budget was $800. So
Yeah,
I we might have to watch it.
yeah, I might have to check it out. Yeah, like I said, atmosphere. This is why I complain about a movie like Undertone, because Undertone is dark, but they don't really do anything. They
Here
just
we
make it
go.
dark. This movie, while it's dark, it has things going on, and also too, like I love how you can just walk in a room and you don't know where this girl is, and she's somewhere.
Yeah.
She's somewhere, and you gotta find her. And it's a Where's Waldo? Got a situation there. So that's all I got. You got anything else on the movie?
No, man, this is an amazing movie. Let's keep this going. We got what we got. We got Passenger next. We have Leviticus
Yeah.
next. I think those are the next two big ones coming to theaters. So I hope we
So yeah,
knock those out the park too. I got high hopes for Leviticus. I had high hopes for Passenger until I saw the second trailer, and I hope it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I was seeing that trailer, and I wish they kind of went with it a little different way.
Oh, you saw it
But well,
finally?
I seen part of it because I was in the theater to
Ooh,
see
boy.
it, and it looks way more than I would want, or it looks in a different direction than I want. But we'll
It
talk
has the
about that.
woman that knows everything.
Of course it does. But yeah, that's all we got. So Scotty, people were here. They liked the video. They hit that sub button. We are chasing 5K, and we are almost at 2K at this point. So help us out there. We also have the boys and all this other stuff running. So do there. But People like the video. They hit the comments. Let us know what they thought of this. I'll put questions down below to ask questions of what you thought of the movie. Where else can they find us at?
You can find me on Kuronocomics on the solo channel, mostly about comics and movies related to comics. You can find both of us on MLF Shorts on all social media and Minor League Films on all social media, even Gmail.
There you go. So do that. Hit those comments. Let us know what you thought about the movie. We got Passenger next, Levitic Kiss. Is that the next one? And the Back Room. So got those three up to finish.
Back Rooms.
Yeah, finish out the month. So here we talk about those, all that good stuff. Like the video. We'll catch you next time.